Yo, what's going on, everyone? Welcome back to another Bitcoin Elliott Wave analysis. Due to the demand for Bitcoin from our previous video, I've decided to do another update on the wave counts here. Again, if you're interested in these video updates, please make sure to hit that like button and subscribe to the channel. Comment down below if you want to see more Bitcoin updates. So, bouncing right off from the previous analysis, I still do think that we are looking for one more overall correction to the downside, or a partner leg, that is. And that's the key word here, ladies and gentlemen. Overall, as we're looking for an overall resolution to be more or less the same for all these scenarios once the distribution phase actually completes for this transitional wave X or wave B that we're assuming since quite a while now. In terms of the actual wave counts though, we do have some minor adjustments for how this transitional wave X or B could be playing out, and it can be seen here within this one chart. Remember, I also do share constant public updates on my social media X page, so if you're not following me there, please do also give me a follow there at XForceGlobal. So that being said, as we are now kind of just going back and forth, we're kind of teetering and tottering back and forth. You can see there is a lot of corrective overlaps here. There's a lot of times of fakery that's happening where we could have assumed a possible impulse. A lot of people probably assume that this was the end of something that could have been a wave 2. But I did give my evidence on why this was a little bit too short in time on the macro, on why I think that, or thought rather, that this was not the end of a completion of a wave 2. I felt like there needs to be some kind of distribution going on, and I think that's what we're currently getting, a distribution level. And you can see this is possibly the best way we can look at it with the current data, which is a triangle. We have a possible A, a B, a C, and then maybe a D wave possibly working at the current time of recording, and then an E, and then an eventual collapse that creates the partner leg for what is this initial move over here. And that in itself is the 3-wave move that we're looking for as a variant, a WXY or an ABC here as another variant where we could see a possible one more high. And I did mention in my public analysis on X as well that, we got to be looking out for the 112, 114, and the $116,000 levels as the possible major resistance levels. And it feels like we're already at that first resistance level at the $112,000 that we did today. And if we come back up, there's a good possible chance that we could be retesting $116,000 before the actual rollover happens. But in case we actually do the distribution further in time, this X wave as a triangle just seems to be the best fitting. Now, in the previous video, we also did mention that this could have been an ABC flat for a wave X, where we came up and retested the same area as this ABC scenario. This idea is just a little bit out of it. I kind of caught myself early, and I made that adjustment fairly early actually, but we did discuss the possibility of a triangle also starting to come into play. It's just due to the fact that we have so many overlaps here. This level here is quite tricky. The only real way I can count it is a B, and then a C as an ending diagonal going into this. So yeah, that is currently the case here. I still do think that we're working quite correctively. There's no clear case of any kind of 1-2, 1-2 or nesting structure that could be a further continuation. And we're already collapsing here in the shorter time frames. So we'll see how this plays out. There is a possibility that this could be a ranging flat for a wave X here. Just gives a little bit of an easier approach on how this could be playing out. So if you look at it from a shorter time frame perspective, you can see that this level here, if treated as a wave ABC into a W, and then this could be a flat for a wave X, since a wave X could be any corrective structure. It does fit into the nature of how we're seeing things in terms of transitional waves in the shorter time frames. So if we have an A, B, C into a W here, could be an ABC, where now we're concluding up this 5th wave here. And I think that this also is matching the Fibonacci trend extension target going into the 161.618 target. You can see it probably tapped right into it. And if this is the range itself, this could be the WXY to the upside that will fit more suit or more fitting into this scenario here, where it's going to be a WXY. We have one more partner leg to the upside on the micro time frames before we go for the larger partner leg for the initial move that we had down since a few weeks ago. So further distribution, I think that's the key overall implication here before we do one more move to the downside. But the major impact for this idea is that most ideas or most scenarios, ladies and gentlemen, all the way up into the $116,000 level, or even now, is going to be major resistance, and they all show or point towards one more move to the downside. And that shouldn't be a alarming thing, because if we look on the macro perspective, this is not only going to fit from a timing perspective of creating an ABC variant or a WXY variant of a zigzag family. This really gives us that transitional wave that we have been looking for quite some time. Because if you go back to that, previous video that I mentioned, we talked about this leading diagonal going into this wave one, and if it ended too soon, there was nothing wrong with it. It just doesn't fit necessarily from a timing perspective. This is why the 23.6% is usually a little bit too short in my opinion. That's why I don't really treat it as a major Fibonacci level, although it is a major Fibonacci square root function of the 38.2%. The 38.2% is generally the more accepted level of support when it comes to minor corrections, and that's why I think that the 38.2% has a little bit more say, especially at an dead even pretty much $100,000 level, which could also wick down into the 90K levels, and that's why we have this blue box zone as well. So like I said, on the macro, we've been discussing how this diagonal was playing out. We narrowed down this idea, so we might as well just continue with this idea for a bit. And then if we get a move to the downside, we can even change this overall structure into a WXYXZ triple zigzag pattern. And it makes more sense. I think a lot of people will get it confused between whether this is an impulse, it's a controlled pullback, or is it like kind of in between a controlled pullback and an impulse, which is that WXYXZ characteristic. So if we get that, the 38.2%, just look out for that for a possible first DCA zone from a lot of smart buyers, and then they might have a lot of limit orders all the way down to the $90,000 levels. But in my opinion, I think that 38.2 is fairly safe to say that it's going to be a support level, just due to the fact that we are nesting in this final fifth wave extension. Usually you want these to be as shallow as possible, but nothing out of the ordinary if we do go a little bit deeper, if we wick into these lower levels. So higher levels is on the map. I don't see any alarming major bearish structures for the macro. We're just kind of focusing here on the shorter time frames because it is kind of a boring market. We are just kind of narrating how this correction is playing out, and it's the fun of this, right? It's the nature of how this overall structure plays out, and whether we're right or wrong, understanding the right implication is the key point here, because pattern recognition is very difficult in real-time analysis, and that's the key point here. But right now, with the current data, we could be working in either the D wave of the triangle, or we may be completing up an X wave for one more partner leg on the minor time frames that moves us for another ABC to the upside at that $116,000 levels that I was discussing for a B wave, where we treat this now as the A wave A entirety into a leading diagonal. In fact, we can even change this into if we're keeping the same integrity of an ABC, you can really even label this as a C wave with an ending diagonal if you really wanted to. And then this would be labeled as a wave W, and then we go into the same WXY structure. Again, the implication is all the same, and I think it's just nitpicking at this point on which way or how this pattern recognition is going to be playing out. We're really narrowed down to two scenarios at this point. If you're versed in the Elliott Wave Theory, you would understand that this is clearly a three-way move of some sort, and we're clearly in some kind of distribution phase that's not resembling an impulse, but is resembling more of a ranging structure. So that being said, either an ABC or a DE wave that's pending before this X wave completes, and then we move down. But again, boom, boom. Both move to these levels over here, the 38.250 and all the way down to the 61.8%. So I'll be doing some more updates if you guys are interested. If we do pop up, I don't have a real, reliable count right now. This move here up to this level is not really resemblance of an impulse whatsoever. And even this move here on the micro time frames, it looks more like a five-way move than anything else into a wave A of some sort, maybe a B, C, and then we move up. I can't really count a clear count for this move up here. I mean, I just haven't taken the time. There's just no point. What's important is the overall context of the preceding and the surrounding and the current waves. I think right now it does look more resemblance of a triangle and also as an ABC structure overall. So hopefully that was helpful. Thank you very much. I will see you guys in the next video. And please make sure to also subscribe to the channel once again, and also like the video if you want to see more Bitcoin video updates, just like you did for the previous video. And if you want to see the the more minor time frame updates, please don't hesitate to reach out to me to join the Discord membership. We do far more periodic updates in the Discord. We have around 1,300 members or so. So if you're interested, the links are in the description below. And if you want to get a little bit of taste on what I do here at XForceGlobal, we do offer a monthly membership as well on Patreon, which is two video updates a week. So I'll see you guys in the next video. Have a fantastic rest of the week. Bye-bye.